ancient Dead Sea Scrolls reveals the name of the beast of Revelation. Let me explain. There are many theories about the human nature of the beast of Revelation, but this information in particular may reveal the nature of the spirit. There is a demon who will possess the man who will become the antichrist. Most without their own biblical research will say that this will be the spirit of Lucifer. However, it will be the demon of the bottomless pit that possesses him. The demon who will possess him is likely the named demon Azazel. Azazel, before his spirit was cursed into becoming that of a demon spirit, he was one of the main angels that were called the Watchers. The Watchers descended upon Mount Hermon and slept with human women, and created the first Nephilim. Azazel of the book of Enoch literally tells us this, "And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures." So from Azazel we literally get a grand majority of the sins of the modern world. He is a demon with 7 heads and is currently in the bottomless pit, otherwise known as Tartarus. He is related to the Jewish calendar's Yom Kippur. On that day, 2 goats are brought out, one for the Lord and one for Azazel. Why is Azazel a part of this ceremony? Azazel is found in 2 different Dead Sea Scrolls and the Bible, 3 times in Leviticus 16 verse 8-10. Nowhere else in Scripture tells us who Azazel is, but interestingly, Moses uses that name and in Scripture, simply assumes everyone knows what that means. This is why the Book of Enoch is a great source for lore referencing, especially with regards to who Azazel is. The Book of Enoch and the Apocalypse of Abraham are considered non-canonical, but that doesn't mean references to Azazel aren't accurate. Portions of these books are likely accurate. For example, the book of Jude quotes the book of Enoch, obviously denoting that the passage is inspired. It's entirely likely that John, the writer of the book of Revelation, and the early Christians who read it knew about these other books. So when they read about the beast of 7 heads, they would immediately know it was Azazel. Leviticus 16:18-11 says, "Then he is to take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord, and the entrance to the tent of meeting. He is to cast lots for the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord, and the other for the scapegoat. Aaron shall bring the goat whose lot falls to the Lord, and sacrifice it for a sin offering. But the goat chosen by Lot as the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to be used for making atonement, by sending it into the wilderness as a scapegoat." So the name Azazel appears 3 times in this passage, never to appear in Scripture again. But that doesn't mean he's not the beast. In this ceremony, Aaron was to select 2 nearly identical goats and cast lots, selecting one for the Lord and one for Azazel. The one for the Lord would be sacrificed for sin, but the one for Azazel would have the sin of the entire nation placed upon it. The goat of Azazel had a scarlet cord tied up to it, just like the scarlet cord of Rahab the harlot, the one she hung on her window that saved her and her family. This goat was taken out into the wilderness to a steep cliff where it would fall off and die on the rocks below. It carried the sin of the people outside of the camp for that reason. It became known as the scapegoat. This is where that turn of phrase comes from. The one who carried the sin to Azazel, who was the source of the sin. According to the rabbis writing in the Talmud, during the 40 years prior to AD 30, the cord turned white as snow as soon as the goat was thrown over the precipice, a miraculous sign that the sins of the people were forgiven. However, from 30 AD to 70 AD, the year that the temple was destroyed, it stayed scarlet. Proof the people's sin was no longer forgiven for this sacrifice. Why 30 AD? It's likely that this was the year of Jesus' crucifixion, so that Jesus' sacrifice would take away the sins of the nations, if they believed in him, instead of this goat. Many Jews didn't come to accept Christ as Lord, and the cord for every sacrifice of goats after this for Yom Kippur stayed scarlet. This proof that I've just shared with you wasn't even found in Christian writings, but it's non-believing Jewish writings. The rabbi were given signs of Jesus' divinity, but they ignored them. People often wonder why in the book of Revelation that the dragon is denoted as red and the beast is denoted as scarlet. Now you have your clue. Scarlet is associated with the beast, the goat, and Azazel. The sin of the whole world used to be taken to Azazel, who is in the bottomless pit, just so happens like the beast of Revelation.